Technology Consulting. Today we are hosting our monthly ISV Spotlight. With us today we have Tom from Liaison Software. Tom's going to be going through the Liaison EDD product, messenger product, that will assist in the distribution of reports and information from the Dynamics GP product. So Tom, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, and you should have control there. I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. I'll show you my screen in a second here. It should be up. I think that should be up now. Appreciate the time. We're going to be showing you Liaison's Messenger EDD product. From a very high level, Messenger EDD automates business form and report distribution. So some of the key features that we're going to cover are batch emailing, batch faxing, built-in archiving of documents, and what people love Messenger for is the ability to attach both static and variable attachments to outbound documents. What we're looking at right here is what's called the Messenger server. So you would be running the Messenger server on a workstation or a server box in your office. It can sit in a virtual environment. But really, we're going to spend most of our time talking about the server. This is where really all the features are at the server, but the end users do not have access to the server. So what I like to do is I like to start by talking about how your end users would use the product on a daily basis, the people that create invoices or orders or statements, to give you an example. Those individuals have two functions. They have the ability to print with our print driver through your normal print routine in GP, and they have the ability to potentially edit recipient preferences. That's all they would have access to when it comes to the Messenger EDD product. So to give you an example, if you print invoices in batches, you would go through the normal print routine in GP, just like you always do. The only difference would be is that you'd be printing with our print driver now. So you would set our print driver as the default print driver for that invoice processing, and Messenger would then create a PDF of all of those invoices, send the PDF here to the Messenger server, where we burst it, we reorganize those individual PDFs, and then we distribute based on these rules here at the server. So it's that simple. You print with our print driver on whatever documents you want to get distributed through our Messenger server. Now, the other function that you can give the end users is the ability to edit recipient preferences. And there's a couple ways to do that. One is by maintaining the preferences in our recipient list here, or if you have the fields available in GP, we could maintain and we could pull all the data from GP, and you would maintain all of this information in GP instead of having to go into our customer preference window. Now, we are going to focus on customers here, but we could be talking about a vendor recipient list to salespeople or warehouses or territories, or even sending direct deposit statements to employees, where we can password protect the documents also. Okay? Now back to the customer list. These would be all of your customers, and then every customer would have preferences for the documents that would be run through Messenger. If you look at the default information here, this is pulling the fax number and email address right from the customer record in GP. And that information is refreshed every time we process a document for that customer. Down below, by document, we're storing individual preferences. So you can see we have preferences here for invoices, print, fax, or email, or combinations of those down at the bottom. And then we have override fax number and override email addresses by document. So for this scenario here, the main contact in GP, Jeff, is not going to receive any documents because we've overridden the invoices where we attach the sending invoices to Marie and to Lauren, and statements are emailed to Christian. If we took Christian's email address out of here, then Jeff would be the one getting the email. So again, if you have the fields available in GP, we could pull all of this data from the GP records, the customer record. So you're maintaining everything within GP. And we do that through this field linkage tab over here. We can also auto-add new recipients as you process orders for new customers. We will automatically create that customer preference window, and based on your default hierarchy is how we would send out a document. So if you chose email, fax, printed as the default hierarchy, we would email it if there was an email address available. If not, we would fax, and if there's no fax number, then we would print the document to the internal printer. So if we were training an end user right now, we're done. That's all they would have access to is printing with our print driver through your normal print routine and editing recipient preferences, either from our recipient list window or maintaining everything in the GP tables on the customer record. Now we're talking about the server. And the server is really where I could show the feature functionality of the product. Only your administrator would have access to this. So everything we're going to show you from now on, the end users would never be going into this. We would have one Outlook email client set up on the Messenger server machine. If you're not using Outlook in-house, it is MAPI compliant. It does work with Gmail and also SMTP. Okay, but all the emails and faxes and archiving is all taking place at this one machine where Messenger server runs. We also have about 9 different faxing solutions that we work with. They all integrate through Outlook. Now over here to rules and resources, we're able to set up scripts. A script is a set of rules or actions built around the report that's going to run through Messenger. So here's a script for invoices. We could have scripts for also bring up a script for statements. It could be POs, credits, bills of lading, all your shipping documents, purchase orders to vendors, direct deposit statements to employees. But we're going to focus on the invoice right now. Now these lines here, I'm going to focus on the first 5 lines. These are the potential actions that are going to take place when you print with a print driver. So line number 1 is sending each invoice to each customer's preference, print, fax, or email. And if it's print, it's going to go to the default printer chosen here for this line in the script. If there are multiple invoices for one customer in one batch, Messenger can be configured to send out one email with one attachment, and in that one attachment would be the multiple invoices versus sending 10 individual emails out with one attachment. Now in line number 2, simultaneously we are archiving a copy of an invoice to a folder. So each invoice that's run through Messenger will get its own, we'll create a PDF, we'll assign a name to it, and drop it in the assigned folder here. And this will be handy when we get to it to the statement process and where we can attach the invoices to the statement. If you need a hard copy in-house to attach to other paperwork, there's your file copy that would print simultaneously with all these other lines. Or sending a copy to a salesperson. We're looking at who the salesperson is on the invoice, going back to the recipient list for salespeople, and then distributing based on that salesperson's preference. And then we have a last example here is a controller copy where we're emailing an individual under certain circumstances. So we're saying email the controller. Under output, we have a filter on this. So line number 5 is only going to be triggered if the total amount of the invoice is greater than $10,000. Any data that we're capturing off of the report we could use to filter off of. Okay, so those are 5 typical examples of what customers do related to business form distribution. We're going to talk now about the report itself. So if I go to the invoice, hit edit, this script itself, this script is linked to your existing report. Right now I'm linked to a Crystal report. It could be linked to your Dexterity, your GP report, SQL reporting services, Word if you're using Word templates. I'm actually going to process back to Michael. I'm going to send an Excel spreadsheet through Messenger shortly to show you a process. Now the way we're linking that is I'm going to pull up this Crystal report now. And again, I could be looking at the GP report writer right now or SSRS report. We place hidden fields in the report. So this is something from Michael's team. Someone from Michael's team or someone from an IT department would add these hidden fields. Our tech support can help assist in getting these in there. But by having, there's typically 3 to 8 of these hidden fields that are put into the report. They allow us to look at the key data that we need to look at in order to distribute based on the script that we just went over. Like routing to the customer's preference. We would have a token based on this customer ID number here. Okay, maybe you want to add the customer purchase order number in the subject line of the email text. Then we would capture that PO number field and create a token off of it. And if you look on the right-hand side, here's an example of a token here. And you can see our field name, right? The field name that we're pulling is right in the middle here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump back here. Again, remember, Messenger does use your existing reports. I have a script set up built around an Excel spreadsheet. This is using an expense report. Because remember, it doesn't really matter what the report is. We have the hidden fields in the report, we create our script, and then you print with our print driver. This script here for this expense report is saying print a copy to the printer at my desk. Then it's going through a document assembly procedure where it's attaching a supporting document. So we have our Messenger brochure right here that I'm going to attach and append after the document that was processed. Then we're sending that to the accounting department, which I'm going to include Michael in. And then we're going to archive this to a folder. So as I kick this script off by printing that Excel spreadsheet, you'll see all of these actions take place. Now, this script, if you look up in the top left corner of the script editor screen, you'll see our script ID number 53. That's going to be the one token that I have in the report that I process. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back in here to the recipient list for the accounting department, and I'm going to add Michael in here. Put his preference as email. Michael, I believe that's your correct email address there.
Yep, you got it.
Okay, so now what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn the server on. Messenger server is now polling, looking for PDFs to process when you see that green light. And I'm going to open up some folders. So you're going to see when I process this, you're going to see it archive a copy to this archive folder. I'm going to pull up Outlook in the bottom right so you can see my sent box and my out box here. You'll also see it print when I process it. But right now I'm pulling up the Excel spreadsheet. Just a simple example just so we can move through the demo pretty quickly. I do it through Excel. And you can see my token up here in the top left corner. This is that script ID number, that hidden field. It's not hidden right now, but it's normally hidden. It's telling us which script to run. So this is where you're in GP or whatever program you're using Messenger with. You are now printing through that normal print routine and using our print driver, which you can see here we have selected. So I'm going to hit print, and I'm going to minimize this expense report real fast. We're going to create a PDF of this and send the PDF to the Messenger server. Where you watch that green light, the green light is going to flash to yellow for a split second while it processes the document sent to the server. And then it will go back to green. And that will all take place in the next 1 to 6 seconds once I hit the print button. Here we go. It's processing already. It's yellow, and Messenger is done. You can see it's been archived to the archive folder. It's printing in the bottom right corner. You can see the job has been sent to the printer. And you can see the emails in the background have been sent out. We just had 2 contacts in the accounting department, Michael and myself. Now I'm going to pull up what was sent to Michael. Here's the standard email text that we included with that and the expense report, the PDF that we created of that. But we've also, if you look, it's now a 3-page PDF because we've appended to this the Messenger brochure. And again, this is an example of a static attachment. So let me minimize this and go back. We'll show you one more feature here.
And Tom, the email did come through to me.
Okay, great. So back here, if you recall on the invoice script, we have a copy archived. That was one of the actions that we had, is to archive the invoice to a folder. Now if I jump over to the statement script, and this next feature, people love this, people buy Messenger just for this purpose. We have what's called a variable attachment here. So if you're not sending out statements to customers right now, a lot of times it's just because you don't really feel it's worthwhile because people don't pay off of the statements, they pay off of the invoices. And if you have someone that calls past due accounts, one of the first things you usually hear is, oh, we never got that invoice, can you send it over again? So what's happening here in this document assembly procedure is we are assembling, we are reviewing all of the invoice numbers listed on the statement, grabbing that data from that field, those fields, and then retrieving all of the supporting invoices from the archive folder, and then merging them together with the statement. This is what's called a variable attachment, because every time a statement goes out, we have different attachments that are going to go with it. We have customers that use this where they attach certificate of compliance, certificate of analysis, bills of lading, shipping documents, proof of delivery. We have customers that use the variable attachment feature to attach instructions to an invoice. So they create a whole library of instructions. Each instruction is based on the item number. And when an invoice is created, we look at all the item numbers on the invoice to go back and retrieve the proper instructions. Not only merging them with that invoice PDF and sending it to the customer, but also archiving it internally. So you have a record now in-house of all the instructions for that job. Could be drawings possibly. So people love Messenger for that variable attachment feature. And again, we focused on the invoice and the statement script, but we could be talking about really any type of report, any type of business form, mainly used for business form distribution. So again, appreciate the time today. Not sure if there's any questions there. Michael, I'm not sure if you have a question.
I'm not seeing any questions in the chat here.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you again for the interest, and if we need to schedule, just contact Michael to schedule any more detailed demos if required.
Great, and thank you, Tom, for your time today. Again, if you need to, if you want to learn more about this product, please contact sales@ptcllc.com. Thank you.